What's up, guys? Welcome back to part 5, I think, of this video series. Hopefully the third video from this video, the jet engine will be running. So for the next 2 videos, because in the last video we tried to start the jet engine, I was really hoping it would start, but I didn't have very high expectations because I knew that the combustion chamber that I had built, I knew it was really undersized, so I didn't have high hopes, and of course it didn't really start. So that kind of stunk, but I knew why it didn't start. I knew if it didn't start exactly why it wouldn't, because it couldn't keep the flame inside of it. Now it's just because this combustion chamber inner liner was way too small. Because I think I explained it video 1. It's all based off this turbine diameter, which is 62 millimeters. You're supposed to double that, and that's the width, the diameter of this inner liner. And this is really not double that. So the whole thing was just way undersized, and so the reason I couldn't really work on it till now was because of the pandemic. I couldn't get into my high school engineering lab where my teacher was going to give me some materials and allow me to use some tooling to actually roll my own sheet metal. And so I finally was able to get in there recently and actually roll those like last week. So now I'm finally able to get back on this thing, and now this is the start of the new combustion chamber liner. It's much bigger. It's literally almost the size of the old outer chamber, and so then here's the new outer chamber. This isn't done yet. It's got to be cut to the width height. This one's already cut to height, and I went ahead and oversized these measurements just a little bit. So for the new combustion chamber liner, it needed to be about 4.67 inches, I believe. So this is about a little under 5 inches in diameter. And then the height needed to be about a little over 14.5 inches, and this is right about 15 inches. So it should be a little oversized because the gas needs room to expand, and then I'm going to have to do all the math to get all the new holes diameter sizes through the whole layout like you did on this. But I'll go over that. I'll go over that later in this video. So for this video, I want to redo all of the combustion chamber. Basically, do the combustion chamber and the fuel, because that's really a part of it. That's pretty terrible. And then next video, because I explained in past videos how I really I intended in the future to go ahead and redo the wiring, and I'm just going to do that next video, just rewiring the entire thing. I'm really deciding still if I want to fully integrate the Arduino, which I'm thinking I can do. Just get a relay board, because then I can have cool stuff like temperature sensor checks and all that, and have like safety protocols to make sure nothing's too hot or anything like that, and then shut the jet off, which I think I might do, because I don't really know a ton about Arduino programming, but I think I could do it. So that would definitely be very interesting. So I'm going to leave that for next video, rewiring the entire thing. But for now, in this video, I'm going to be making the whole combustion chamber, because I should have pretty much all my parts I need to make a very nice one compared to the last one. And yeah, I've got the outer liner cut to size. I decided to make it just 1/8 of an inch taller than the inner liner, just for the interlocking, making it a little easier. And then I've also gotten all of my holes marked out for this. So yeah, to get your hole size, you can see I have the old liner here. They've got so here's the top, and the holes get bigger as they go down, and there's fewer of them. And so in order to get how many holes you need, you gotta take the area of your inlet inlet, and then you take that area, and then you want the first phase, you do it in 3 phases. You want the first phase to have 20% of the area in total area of holes, second phase 30%, and then the third phase 50%. So then you can get that by figuring out what drill bits you want to use. I decided I wanted to go 1/4, 3/8, and then 1/2 inch. So you just get the area of these holes now, and you just divide the area by the whatever percentage area. So for the top one, you end up needing 19 holes. The bottom, the middle one, you need 13, and the bottom one, you need 12 for these measurements with a 62 millimeter inner inlet diameter. So now I've spaced them out, and then you can kind of see how I zigzagged. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but I just wanted to kind of space them out where they get kind of crowded up top. And it doesn't fit perfectly. If I had done it, I did 1/4 inch holes on this one, so you can see where I kind of did that. And then, but since it's 19 holes, you end up with that. So for this one, I'm kind of doing them by 3. And so you still have like a kind of weird intersection, but it just looks better because they're more spaced apart and there's just no center one. And then for the middle 13 holes, I didn't really decide. I just decided to keep it like that just because I didn't want to deal with zigzagging it, because then I would just end up with something like this. And then it still wouldn't look too great if I did that. And just because it's going to be really, it'd be really crushed up because I kind of moved these out an inch, and then they'd just be really close. And then the bottom ones, it fit perfectly because there's only 12 holes. I'm doing that in ½ inch, so it's going to look really good when that's all drilled out, even though no one's going to see that once the jet's assembled. So then after I draw all these holes, what I got to figure out is how I'm going to mount this so I can have it bolted to inside here in the center, but also be removable. So what I'm going to do is I have these sheets I cut out in class, except I didn't realize exactly how wide the outer diameter would be. So this one's too small, but what I'm going to do is just fill it in with plates on each side. I'm going to put plate tab over here, so this sheet will be welded to the inner liner, but then it's going to bolt down to the plate which is attached to the outer liner, so that I can remove this whole thing at once. And that's going to do that. Then I'm going to work out how I'm going to do the bottom part next after I do all this stuff, and then so we'll go from there. And I'll now go to the time lapse of me drilling all these holes. Since the last clip, I have now put in the bolted in, got the top plate bolted in, all the holes are drilled bolted. I have a whole system done up, and I have the center bit, or the inner liner, welded on the inside. So I'm gonna take it apart now. This is kind of thin sheet metal, so the welds didn't turn out as great as I wanted them to, but it ended up working. And there's the new flame tube. So yeah, once I said the welds aren't very great, but they'll definitely work, so it's gonna be okay. Had a few burn through spots that I had to fix, but they all turned out okay. For now, I'm still going to leave the spot welded. I may go back after I film this and keep working on this and just making it look a little bit better, but I mean, it's not visible and it's functional, so I think it's going to be okay. And so now, from this point, since the top was upside down, so now it's upside up. I think that's it up too, but now I got to work on the bottom plate section, which will also channel into the turbine collector. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I've got some plates. These are smaller sizes, but I think that's going to be okay because I'm going to have to cut a hole out in the center for this to accept into. So what I'm thinking is I kind of cut these into strips and bend them to intercept this when it gets put in. And then I'll basically just fill in that space between around it. Sorry guys. And I don't know. Few weeks, 2-3 weeks. I think still recorded the last clip. I ran out of welding gas, and I just need a little bit of sheet metal. I finally got that today, so I've just spent some time working on that. So this is pretty much the entire combustion chamber right here. It's upside down. So yeah, here's the top piece that you guys saw in an earlier clip. I just welded on this bottom section with the hole in it. So this part, it's not fully welded. I pretty much welded up to here. I've been refining my welding process because this is really thin sheet metal, and I don't have the greatest welder, but I have a pretty decent one. So I've kind of got a system down to where I can actually weld this and it not burn through every time. So it's definitely not the prettiest, but I'll probably work with this some more off camera. And you can see, I don't know if you can see how well you can see this, like that bead, for instance, right here. You can get some decent results out of this.
So it's definitely not terrible, and especially if I spend some more time with it and like layer up some of the welds, like it's right there. You can see there's one of the better ones. But then some areas where it did burn through, there's just blobs that I gotta work through. But what's gonna happen now is I'm gonna have to cut this piece up and funnel it down into the T4 turbo inlet size. And the T4 just is it's a standard turbo size for the exhaust inlet. So I just have to funnel this down into the plate that I've already made, and I'm actually gonna be reusing that plate from the previous engine. So you guys can see, I can just undo this. I only got 2 bolts in it now. But now should be able to put this thing up. Now I can take this whole thing out. You can see down in the turbo, it's actually got like a little rim to intercept the end of this. So this chamber is pretty much done at this point. Things left to do to obviously make this go to the T4 turbo, then it's ready for mounting. But then as far as things up here that need to happen, one of those is the fuel rail needs to go in the center, and then I gotta make a hole for the spark plug. So I gotta figure out the spark system. So what I think I'll probably do in the next section of this video is make the fuel rail, and then I'll deal with the spark plug in the electronics video. Since that last time lapse where I was kind of just getting everything tacked together on this end piece and then just really shaping the whole thing up, I actually took the time, welded the whole thing. I've got a few hours in this already, and it's not really perfect. I kind of whipped it out with an angle grinder, whipped over it with a flap this bit real quick just to kind of level it down a little bit. The issue with this is, I mean, it's pretty thin sheet metal, so I can't really, I kind of have to like zoo individual attacks with it, and sometimes they start by splattering out a little bit, so there's a lot of splatter, but I was able to kind of get the hang of it, and so it's not too terrible. I don't really know what I could have done other to fix it. Once again, I'll probably go back off camera and try and clean it up a little bit more, but for now I'm gonna move on to other parts just so I can get this thing running. I'll probably leave this as is until I get a test or two and see if anything needs to actually change on it. And yeah, because I'm kind of looking, like, I think before I do the next test, because I kind of have this bead up here, I think I'm going to run another bead around it, because you can kind of see, I can't really tell, I think that's delaminated a little bit, so I'm going to run a bead over that, just to make sure there's no split there that opens wide up or anything. That would be pretty bad if that happened during a test. I don't want that happening. But now we're actually ready. I can assemble this, drop on the whole thing, and it can start going back together on the stand, not permanently, but just for testing purposes. Because now what I got to do is I got to join my turbine. I don't know if this is going to be in frame or not, but I'm pretty sure it will be somewhat in frame. I join my turbine to my combustion chamber. Now I gotta figure out where that hole needs to be. Okay guys, so I got everything reassembled on the thing, and now on the jet stand. So now I gotta figure out where this is my intake tube, which is the same as the last time. Well, up to here pretty much. Come from the turbo up, and then you can see I got everything mounted up right now. The flame tube's just chilling though. So now, oh, we can't do it. Chilling for now up here, but I gotta figure out basically how to connect my intake line into my combustion chamber. So I think I said a third of the way down earlier is actually about a quarter of the way down. So what I'm gonna do an offset. So because I wanted to basically go in, if you're looking at it from like here, and you want it to enter the side of the tube, have it swirl around, and then down the tube towards, so it can go through these cascading hole sizes. So because you kind of have small pier, so it just lets some air in, but it's not like big, like I guess strong air, so it doesn't like put the flame out. And then, but as it gets down, it has room to expand. The gas has room to expand, and that is how the turbine works. Okay, so yeah, so I've got my intake tube right here. It's coming up. I got it connected about a quarter of the way down, not a third like I said earlier. And what I'm going to do is I've got this piece which I took off right here, this angled bit, which was the inlet for the old turbine. I cut it out. I'm going to reuse it and it should be completely fine. And I've got this piece of pipe right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a new edge on this. Basically, it's going to route it in and then have it go right into the side here. Okay guys, so I just started pie cutting these pieces, so everything's super crude right now. But what I'm about to do now is just get all this tack welded in place, just get the gist of everything, like finalize all this crap. I'll definitely have to do some like fill-in areas like here. That'll be fine. Yeah, so I'm just gonna get everything kind of tacked in place, ready to go. I'll have to do another slice right here to get this in place better, so I'll probably do that next. And then I'll get ready to tack this whole piece together first, right here, and then I'm going to tack it to this one right here. And then this will be the last attachment right here. This is mostly going to be wallowing that hole out for now and getting these stuff tacked up. So here we go. Okay guys, it's been a little bit since I last turned on the camera, and I've got this whole end piece made up that I was talking about earlier. There's the inlet, and then I kind of put some pie cuts in it, and then ground it all down because this is galvanized, so I had to grind off the coating and stuff. Don't worry, I did wear protection because you don't want to be breathing in the fumes this stuff puts off because it's pretty bad. So yeah, basically it's going to mount up right here, right about there. And I've got like a clamp that's going to go and mount this exhaust pipe to here, so then seal that, and then I'm going to put some exhaust seal like on the old jet, but I really don't want to use as much of that. So I'm pretty much, I think the only place it's going to be used is right here. And then the only other place it might be used, is I don't really want to, is because of how I've got to mount this up. I don't know if I can get my welding gun back there to get that all filled in. So I'm going to get it as best I can. And then as you can see right now, this kind of doesn't extend all the way over in here. So what I'm going to do is, for making this pie cut in here, I've got some of these like kind of pie bit blanks. And I think if I fit, I can cut up 2 or 3 of the ones that I have. And I'll be able to get it to finish off and taper into the actual like jet section nicely. So I think what I'm about to do next is just actually tack up this whole piece right here. That's what I gotta do this one-handed. So actually tack up this piece right here, and then start working on the pie cuts to get them to go into this piece. And then from this point on, it's really going to be working with the angle grinder and the welder, getting this all sealed up nice right here. And yeah, so now I'm going to get this welded to that. Okay guys, I think I'm going to call it there for now. As with the rest of the combustion chamber, I'll probably do a little bit more cleanup work off camera, but I pretty much got the whole thing done, welded in. So now, hello, I got this whole thing welded in, ground down a little bit. Some of my beads weren't too terrible, not too bad. I don't know if it's going to focus or not. Oh, you can see the really bad ones far away, but that one's right there. That's not too bad. Yeah, stuff's really thin, so it's really hard to weld, which is a bit annoying. But now nothing's focused. Okay, but yeah, I think I'm gonna end this video here. In the next video, I'll be going over electronics, and I'm gonna do the fuel rail. I'm really just trying to get this video out because I haven't posted in so long, and I'm really busy with school right now, so I haven't really had too much time to work on this. I'm just trying to get a couple videos out on it. So I'm gonna do some. Just know I'm gonna do some more work off camera cleanup work, but I got it kind of the basics kind of done. So now it actually, you have the full completion of compressor to inlet into the actual combustion chamber to the rear turbine right here. So see you guys in the next video. We'll be doing all the electronics, have a bunch of nice stuff on that, and we'll get that thing done, and then the video after that will be hopefully this thing actually running. So see you guys next time.